1095.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see areas of fog and probably sunny skies this morning. We'll see an afternoon storm. Forecast, we'll see a high around 8. Tonight, we'll see a chance of storms early, then mostly cloudy skies, a low around 66. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies throughout most of the day. We'll see a high around 87. The meteorologist Kyle Tucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Junior Achievement of Lincoln inspires and prepares young people for success. Learn more about the people involved in the organization and the success stories over the years each Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. for the Junior Achievement Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Welcome to it on 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. I'm Austin Norman, joined by the Husker Hall of Famer, the 9-year NBA vet, looking fresh in the NBPA polo, Eric Strickland. What is up?
What it do is it was, hey, listen, great night on WTF. Kay Johnson came in, set it off, man. Great interview. But we're on the block today, and we've got some great stuff to get into. First, after we talk about Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Yes. Charles in Charge and the crew down at Mary Ellen's, they are doing it big, doing it lovely, and go out there, have a test of some of the best soul food in Nebraska. Doggone it. Not just in Lincoln, in Nebraska. I venture to say.
Did Cade like the Seahawks alternate throwback uniforms?
We didn't get into that one.
Okay.
We talked we basically went into his tenure and time at Bellevue West, some of the adversity that he had to go through. When did you kind of come to the conclusion that you knew that you could do this? The crossroads the COVID crossroads is what we call them.
Sure.
Is when you kind of had yourself at a moment where you're having to decide, are you going to come back? I mean, you've already been an All-American. You know, you're getting a lot of mail and calls from Power Fives, and you have to decide, do you want to go to another program, or are you ready for the next level and to go to that training regimen to do so, and made his way in. So it was good. It was a good little segment. Just kind of took him through the steps of him and the mode that he had to be in order to get to the next level.
That's awesome. Check that out wherever you get your podcast, the WTF podcast here from 93.7 The Ticket. It's They Talk Facts, but we talk facts. I'm not a part of the show. That's Strick and Cluster. Again, with Cluster's son, Cade. Again, wherever you get your podcasts. YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter. I went way out of order on those. Those are all our streams that you're finding us here today, as well as the app for your phone and Allo channel 951. You know the numbers to get into the show, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, or the Starter Heyman Jewelers text line. All right, Strick, diving right into our first topic of the day, we go to the NBA. Earlier today, the NBA says that Brooklyn and Cleveland will be playing a game in Paris on January 11th, smack dab in the middle of the regular season. A little interesting, I think, that they're not sending San Antonio with Wembanyama over to Paris, even though San Antonio did play in Mexico City last year. But this isn't the first time the NBA has gone overseas to play regular season games. It's been a thing for a while now, which I didn't realize just how long it'd been going on.
Yeah, it's something that I think initially it was a global initiative that they wanted to take, right? You wanted to figure out how you can get as many touch points and expand the game of basketball to now where you have NBA Africa, you're seeing a lot of Africans now starting to find their way into the collegiate game as well as just coming over as pros. So I think initially that was it. Obviously to tap into China when you had Yao Ming and some of that stuff with those players. And now the Chinese Basketball League is, I guess, going through the roof. Had some players that usually a lot of professional players after they complete their tenure there, they kind of find their way to China because
Dwight Howard, Jimmer
China's kind of
Fredette,
paying a little bit,
Starbury.
a little bit extra money. Or it's kind of like the Live Golf Tournament, right? Or the Live Golf League, where the money is just lovely as you're going to wind down your career. So a lot of them go over and do that. But then I think what ends up happening is there was a period where expansion was being talked about. What if we put a team over in London or over in Spain or somewhere like that? I think it works better going that way. If you look at just some of the scheduling that had happened during that time, the schedules are different. You can just tell a difference in the schedules of them going towards
Atlantic
Europe
versus Pacific
instead of going towards the Pacific. So you're seeing some of the different time frames and how those games are played. So you can understand that going over, getting it done. It's relatively simple to get over there within, depending on where you come in. Brooklyn's going to be lovely getting over there. That'd be 7 hours, maybe, 8 hours. And who else is playing? In Cleveland. So Cleveland won't be as bad. I mean, you just add a few more hours, so it'd be like 9 hours. But it's what the time frame of coming back is. And who are they going to play on the comeback? Do you send them home or do you send them back east and keep them on the road on a little trip? That's going to be the difference.
If you're a player, would you want to come home after a trip, or would you rather just get a big road swing out of the way, even if it does involve some international air miles?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind going over there, doing a back-to-back.
That's the important part too,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. I think if you go over there and do a back-to-back, that's cool. And then come back after that. And if you want to, hit a couple games on the way home, that's not bad.
Right.
If you're Brooklyn, you go home. If you're Cleveland, you don't mind coming back through, maybe hitting the Knicks and then hitting
Knicks, Celtics,
Indiana or Pacers. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Right. I think that's important to keep in mind too, because there's no way in the world that playing internationally gets through the CBA if there aren't things like that built in for players. Because you're not going to have them, play in London, play in Paris one night, and then play again back stateside the next night.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's something that you don't want to do.
What is it that all goes into the international travel part? Is it just another road trip but longer, or are there more hoops to jump through for teams?
I mean, one of the hoops, and it's a major hoop that people don't think about sometimes, is and I'll just caveat it by saying this. Everywhere we play, we pay. You understand? Everywhere we play, we pay. So if you're playing in that's why a lot of people like to stay in Texas,
Florida.
Yeah, Florida, because you're going to get enough games there that you're not going to have to pay tax on. So everywhere you pay, you play. So it's working out what that pay is going to be, what the tax is going to be, so forth and so on. That's one thing. Travel. Then you've also got it can be a dependence upon political situations going on.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, Paris is kind of wilding,
right.
So, whatever your feelings on the geopolitics of that, it's still, it's tense to be able to go over into that environment when it's a heated environment at this point. Right.
That's why Paris is a little questionable, but they're going to make it happen. They've done it before. That's why the NBA is not back in China playing a game.
Yeah.
But that's why I think we see more of the Mexico City, right? Where you get your Florida teams or some of your Texas teams heading down that way. You also pointed out there was a really fascinating Arizona, right, with Phoenix. There's a really fascinating list of all the places the NBA has been, but most of it in preseason, right? The regular season is your London, your Paris, your Mexico City for the most part, maybe Japan here or there. But didn't you say like Mumbai or something for the preseason?
Yeah, they had a preseason in Mumbai. That was a difficult travel. Like, you're looking at 20 something plus hours.
Oof.
Because you're gonna have to land maybe 1 or 2 times minimum.
Yeah.
Especially depending on which way you go. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's tough, bro.
The other thing you mentioned is the start of this initiative for the NBA was maybe to look at expansion and also grow the game. That part I think is done. Like, basketball is absolutely worldwide. We went through about a month ago the best foreign versus the best American players in the NBA. You have to get down to at least number 3, if not further down the list, to get to the best American player. So clearly what the NBA did in growing the game globally worked. You're getting great athletes from all across the globe to come play in the best league in the world. So you've accomplished that goal. Why do you keep these international games going? Is it to continue that momentum? Is it money? Are you still thinking about foreign expansion? What's the purpose of these games anymore?
Well, I don't know for sure, but I think, if I was to speculate, you've got to be thinking about a way to continue that expansion and how you're going to go about it, because unless you continue to rev up the TV revenues, you've got to figure out a way to do it to inspire more people to put eyes on the TV screen. So it could be something on that level. I just don't know. I mean, some people are turned off. Some people are turned off about the NBA game these days. They don't like the style. They don't like the way it's played, or whatever the case may be. They don't like maybe some of the politics that go on inside the game. But for whatever reason that is, they're trying to figure it out, as a brand, as a business, in the same way that the MLB is trying to figure it out too. They're trying to figure out how to generate. So they're making adjustments and changes. NFL has probably done the best job at this point of it, of maintaining, even though they've dabbled in some foolishness in some ways, but they've seemed to continue to figure out how to keep the train rolling.
We've seen those other leagues play in London, especially Mexico City as well. Some of those, I guess, closer foreign markets. But as it relates to the NBA, and especially no Victor Wembanyama, do you think that was an NBA decision since the Spurs, traveled somewhere last year? Do you think the Spurs said, hey, we'll go again, but not this year, to try to get his feet wet? It might be overwhelming going back home. Why no Spurs? Why no Victor Wembanyama if you're playing in Paris?
I mean, a lot of these things are pretty much set in motion for a while. There could have been a conversation like that to where, they just said, nah, we'll pass, because it's a lot for a team to do that. I mean, there's going to be costs. There's going to be a cost associated with it. They bear the cost of it in some instances. I don't know if they get any money from the NBA in order to do it. I don't know, but I'm sure if you're looking at that, the international costs aren't cheap. You're talking high fuel costs. You're talking, bringing not just the team over. You're looking at probably bringing families, and so there's hotels. There's a lot to it, man. So I don't think it's just. I would love to say it's just simple as saying, "Yay, Victor, yeah, Paris, yeah, that works." But I think there's probably some stuff that are set in stone ahead of time, and some agreements that have been made by the other teams.
Fair enough. He's Eric Strickland, the 9-year NBA vet here on The Block. I'm Austin Norman. We're going to take our first break of the show. When we get back, Northwestern held its press conferences. The attorneys and the players got on the mic. What stood out, and not that there are any highlights from this, but what's important that was said. How does Northwestern come away looking after this? The answer is still not good, but just how bad is it? We'll dive into that and more as we continue here on The Block.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Hey guys, Jake Sorensen here from Early Break, and on behalf of the entire 93.7 Ticket team, we are excited to announce this fall we are teaming up with Husker Extra for the Big Red Brunch. We'll have big names from now and the past from Husker sports, and that all starts on Wednesday, August 9th for the Big Red Brunch Golf Scramble at Tiburon Golf Club in Gretna. Sign up to play today at omaha.com and find the Big Red Brunch tab. You won't want to miss this on August 9th at Tiburon in Gretna.
Great Diesel and Equipment Services is hiring and seeking motivated applicants. Great offers a second-to-none benefit package that includes health, dental, vision, 401k, paid vacation, and paid holidays. They offer great pay and tuition reimbursement or a tool purchase program for qualified candidates. It's a fun, friendly team with lots of variety and work assignments, so there's something for everybody. View and apply for their job openings today at grayusa.com or Visit them in person just off I-80 and North 56th Street. Come be a part of the Gray Difference.
July marks 8 years of the Body Shop being open for business and serving Lincoln the best massage options in the area. Dennis and his team would like to thank all customers who have stopped in and let them relieve the pains and stress in their lives. Your continued business allows them to do what they are passionate about. Book an appointment today at thebodyshoplincoln.com. The Body Shop, your go-to for all types of massages at 48th and A.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy? It's Planet Fitness. Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime. With over 2,400 convenient locations worldwide and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. Whether you're a newbie or a gym pro, you belong in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel any day. See Home Club for details.
Arnold's Tavern in Havoc is the place to be this summer, and the best place in town for shuffleboard. Come on Wednesdays and learn from some of the best players in town for the Shuffleboard Corner. Come on Sundays for Open House League all day starting at 11 a.m. and enjoy $3 tall boys and $3 wells. Shake off the start to the work week with karaoke on Monday nights. And don't forget, happy hour is every day from 3 to 6 p.m., and you are always welcome to bring in your own food. Arnold's Tavern in the heart of Havelock.
Look at your car. It's filthy and probably has a few dings and nicks all over it. Don't be that guy. Get it upgraded and repaired at Renew Your Auto. At Renew Your Auto, they offer tons of services: ceramic coating, window tinting, paintless dent repair, washes and details, bed liners, body shop, and more. Where can you go to get services like that all in one place? Schedule your appointment today at renewyourauto.com. See what Renew can do for you.
If you thought of selling your business, you're probably wondering where to start. Call the experts at Transworld Business Advisors of Lincoln. With a database of over 450,000 buyers, we've got you handled. 402-413-1095.
Ironhide Construction is hiring. They're looking for self-motivated individuals who are team players. Ironhide Construction has openings for an experienced project manager, estimator, apprentice, skilled laborer, and erector or installer. They will train the right people and make sure you understand the position and requirements. At Ironhide Construction, it's own it, be honest, and do it right. Apply today and learn more about their other benefits at ironhideconstruction.com. We're committed to you every step of the way.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see areas of fog and probably sunny skies this morning. We'll see an afternoon storm chance. Forecast, we'll see a high around 86. Tonight, we'll see a chance of storms early, the mostly cloudy skies, a low around 66. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies throughout most of the day. We'll see a high around 87. Meteorologist Kyle Tucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. We're here on the block. Austin Norman, E. Strick with you.
I can't even whistle. I've never been able to whistle, bro.
Same.
It's
Same.
like no matter how much it comes to.
You and me both. See, that's make a perfect team.
Yeah,
no whistles.
That's why. You just don't even know why.
You can't whistle, and that's why the refs swallowed their whistle when you were guarding. They knew. They knew you were tough. You can't whistle, so they can't whistle. That's just lockdown D is all that is.
Yeah. I had to use the real thing. I couldn't do it on my own.
There you go.
You know how people have the ability to like put two fingers or whatever and make it just go all the way across the landscape?
Yeah.
Can't do it.
No. I just saw
if I want to call my friend or call my dog back or I have to yell. Mm-hmm. Now, that's one thing I do have. I have one of those voices that when it is most voice, it's very
it carries.
It projects.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something I did have to learn, and it worked to my favor, especially playing in 17,000 arenas where 17,000 people in it, making noise and being loud. You got to call plays. You got to have a voice that carries.
Was there ever a point in the year, like, is your voice tired come All-Star break and you use those 4 days just to not talk, or were you pretty used to it by that point?
No, I would say my voice got more being in the party. when you're trying to yell across the way and catch one of your boys, or maybe you want to talk to a honey or something. But yeah, that's when I probably felt that my voice went out, mostly, not necessarily during the games.
That's funny. Nyla says she can teach us to whistle.
No, I don't think you can teach that. I think it's a talent that you got to have.
You can or you can't.
You can do it. It's the same thing as you can either sing or you can't. Right?
And
I think they can teach you. I cannot.
You
sing.
can. Yes,
Listen,
you can. We've heard it.
God knew what he was doing, Austin,
Typically
by
does.
not giving me a voice. Because I'm telling you, I would be on stage serenading everything that walked by. So it was the best thing. Give you one talent, let you play a little hoop, let you play a little baseball, some football maybe, and go sit your butt down somewhere. No karaoke for East Ricky. No, none of that.
Karaoke for fun, not for a living.
Rap karaoke.
Okay.
Now I can rap it because I can kind of put my own little swing in it.
You've caught some flow on that.
Oh, no rapper can rap quite like I can. No, see, I can do that, but I can't sing, no doubt.
You got it. Well, as we talk about using a voice and whistle, we turn our attention to Northwestern football.
Yeah.
The attorneys and players held some press conferences today and just loaded. There's a lot that came out of it. The first thing that I think stands out to me, Strick, is that there's a second lawsuit now being filed against Northwestern, but not just against the football program. This is one that's looping in former athletic director, current ACC commissioner, Jim Phillips, saying it happened under his watch. The current AD, Derek Gregg, the current president, Michael Schill, and the former university president, Morton Shapiro.
Okay.
This isn't just stopping with Pat Fitzgerald and these guys here. And if you see the players who are talking that we'll get to in a sec, these are guys from the early 2010s, when the old president and when the old AD were there. So This was bigger than just a 3-year incident like it seemed like we were led to believe at the beginning.
Well, it's this is just a tough situation all the way across the board, right? It's tough for the program. It's tough for all players involved. It's tough for those that are in, leadership roles. This is tough. It's going to be a tough discussion that needs to be had. It's going to be one. I just hope that everybody takes the time, allow space for those who are coming forward to share their story, not condemn the story, let it come forth, let the investigations take place, and allow whatever is to come from it comes. I don't want to judge Coach Fitzgerald. I don't want to judge any other people involved. I want to make sure that I hear the players and their concerns. Now let's pause and let's take ourselves just from that. Let's just deal with life situations. We've come to a point where we've become very you're guilty until proven innocent, when that's not what the rules of the game is supposed to be. The game is supposed to be you're innocent until proven guilty, right? Civil discourse has been eliminated in a lot of forums, right? We used to be able to, Austin, I mean, you're coming up in this, but in our time, we used to be able to agree to disagree. I used to be able to have a conversation with somebody. I may not feel the same way you feel. I may not think the same way you think about it, but I can listen to you and I can say, you know what? I can understand your point of view. Now there's things that you say or maybe said that could be misconstrued. And the minute you say it, you're labeled. Like the minute you say something that is not agreeable to whatever, the voice or the echo chamber is, you're labeled something. You know what I mean?
And sometimes you don't say something, but it's taken out of context, so it's made to seem like you said something.
Yeah, so that's an issue in our country. I think it's something that's going on. You see it in so many areas now, and I don't want this to be in this forum because I don't want to misjudge or say, because we also live in a grift. We live in a grift society now, where It's a tag-along society. It's a mob mentality. You see a bunch of people doing stuff, and then all of a sudden, let me get in.
Mm-hmm.
So we see that too. So I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying this is why I want it all to play out, take its course, and allow all parties to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
And then be smart, intellectual people. If you're on the outside listening in, take into account all parties, then weigh the scale, and then make a decision.
Right. So the key word moving forward is going to be allegedly.
Yeah.
Because we have the allegations, we have what's being said happened, but none of it has been proven in a court of law. So like you said, innocent until proven guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Getting back to the allegedly part here. The fact that it goes deeper than just football, allegedly goes deeper than just football.
So you're talking about other sports.
To baseball,
Yeah.
which we already heard about.
Yeah.
To volleyball, which Adam Rittenberg of ESPN is saying might have led to the cancellation of a game.
Mm.
And also in softball, which is a weird one because that's a Women's College World Series qualifier 2 years ago. Probably the most successful program on campus. If it is, in fact, in all four of those programs, there was hazing and, demeaning of student athletes, that absolutely falls back on Jim Phillips, where and when this all started, right? Again, he's an athletic director. He's got plenty going on. I get it, but your job is to oversee all your programs, to check in. So I wonder if softball, volleyball, took those concerns to their head coach and they weren't reported, they weren't taken seriously, if they went, higher up the chain,
Mm-hmm.
or if they just didn't do anything about it and they're just coming out now, right? Because we heard the baseball ones. They're pretty credible. We haven't heard from softball or volleyball, which is where you hope that they're not in on a grift or anything, just trying to, make a quick buck because plenty of other student athletes at Northwestern are in these lawsuits.
Mm-hmm.
But again, if this allegedly happened in 4 different sports, that's an institutional problem.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, Northwestern is a very top end academic school, right? There's a couple of things that Northwestern kind of are a funnel to. Usually it's governmental, some governments, maybe FBI, CIA. A lot of them kind of find their way into those type of some banking. A
lot of Fortune 500.
A lot of Fortune 500 leadership type jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So look, this is alleged. This is just free thinking mindset. I'm just thinking. When you deal in a lot of those areas, there is something called you have to pay your dues. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That happens in everything, but in those areas, paying dues can be something different. And there's little routines that you kind of have to deal with, go through, or you kind of maybe you got to be the coffee guy for quite a while. Maybe you got to be the donut guy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you got to be the person that handles the note taking for, in their own way, their forms of paying your dues,
mm-hmm.
right? I just think that it could have been allegedly gotten to a point where that form has trickled down into these areas and forums, and it just goes too far if you don't put a cap on it. So if you kind of just let it be a hands-off type of thing and you're not really putting your 2 cents into the matter, then it can kind of just start snowballing and it can grow and take its own, like a root, like a weed. A weed,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't go and cut it, or you spray some Roundup or something on it, well, I don't even think you want to do Roundup these days. But you know what I'm saying? You don't spray no weed killer on it. You don't kill the source of the weed. It can end up, festering and causing more problems.
Right. And I think that's an important distinction to draw, where paying your dues, different amounts of time, different, actions go into that depending on what you're doing in your life or in your career. But again, what allegedly happened at Northwestern seems more like initiation than it does paying your dues.
Yeah.
And that tells me that's a program that was bored, that wasn't focused on the bigger thing, and a program strict that
that's good,
that had other things to do with its time than football, allegedly, than baseball. Because if that's a team that was focused on winning, on integrating everyone to build each other up and make each other better, that doesn't happen. Or someone sees it happen and they put a stop to it. Like, hey, this is bigger than us, right? Who is this helping improve? It's not helping the freshmen feel more welcome. It's not setting a good example. It's not helping you. It's making you feel better about yourself in the short term, which you're allegedly doing. Knock it off. It's not making us better.
There's something that we've studied in biblical terms. It's not going to be an absolute scripture to this one, but it basically says idle minds is the devil. It's the devil's playground.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, this is just like an interpretation of it. Where it comes.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're like that's deep, because if you're not actually, you know, active and doing other things, then you kind of get into these wormholes of just wilding out and doing crazy stuff with idle time. You know what I mean? So let's just think about this too. How long has this been going on? That's going to come out. But
one of the players that spoke today was from 2013 is when he started in the program.
So you're talking about 2013. Okay. So you know that it's going on, but it ain't like crazy. You know, it's a little bit here. People are hearing, people laughing and giggling about it, right? Okay. You get to 2020. Idle time. You've been sitting in the house. You've been cooped up. You got all kinds. I mean, I'm not saying this is the case. This is all legend. I'm just thinking of how things can happen, right?
Progress.
And how it could progress.
Mm-hmm.
So when you come back, you've got all this built up, pent up energy with a culture that has some of that already involved. So then it's like a leapfrog, an escalation of the foolishness can go to a whole nother level. And this is probably what you've been seeing allegedly over the last 3 years, possibly. I don't know. I'm just speculating
and
spitballing.
I like where you're going with that, because if there's already that weed, right, that has roots in the program, and then it gets supercharged, right? That's where the coaching staff, someone that's an adult needs to step up and focus on that, right? If you have a whiff of that going on with those factors coming together, that's where you say, okay, I know there's a lot going on. I know we're in a pandemic. I know my mind's a million other places, but right now I have to take special care of this culture because we haven't been in a locker room with each other for a long time, because everyone is struggling through this and probably looking for an outlet of some sort, right? To get rid of that pent up energy, that frustration in some way or another. The way it was allegedly channeled, clearly not good for anyone, physically or mentally.
Well, that's where I would have said the channeling. So this is where, you get creative in these types of situations, Austin, I believe. I think you get creative. Maybe you bring in Green Berets and you go on a trip. I mean, you're right there off of the lake. You go on to a trip in maybe some of the hills or the mountains. Not mountains, they ain't got mountains, but some of the like forestry type areas, and just have some bonding time where it ain't that foolishness time, but it's like some disciplined time. Like you're literally working, you're a unit, you're coming together. Maybe, I don't know, they maybe done that stuff. I don't know. I'm just saying you got to figure a way to channel that energy into some other aspect, right? Maybe it's getting on one of these trips and selling it to the organization. Hey, we need this. This is something going on. I need to rechannel some energy. I mean, you got to sell it. And maybe do something like that. I don't know, man. But at this point, I'm just hoping that all parties involved can some way just find some healing in it, because there's, I'm sure, based on some of the stuff that has been said, it's troubling, and you can find PTSD in situations like that. You don't even realize it. Like, I remember going through segments in my life especially after getting traded. When I first got traded, it's one of those things, and this is just an example of it. It's one of those things, Austin, that depression and things of that nature can settle in, and you don't even realize it. So you find yourself in a place where you've given your all. This is not just sports related. This is life, where you've given your all. You've blood, sweat, and tears. You've sold out. You've listened, and you've been doing everything that the top brass has wanted you to do, and trying to make this organization the best that it can be, whatever, your job or whatever, right? And then all of a sudden they just kind of, toss you away. Not only do they do that, you have conversations with them and they're telling you you're part of the core of this organization. And then the next thing you know, your agent's calling you, telling you you need to get out of there because they're about to trade you. So now you're perturbed because you've seen the worst of the worst, the bottom of the barrel. You've worked your tail off to help it to become where you know you're turning the corner, and they send you elsewhere. That's a depressing state. And I fell into a depression that I didn't even know I had. You know what I'm saying? And that's what some of these kids could be dealing with, or, in their minds. Their careers are now over, some of them. So now that idle time is kicking in, where they envision themselves going to another level or the NFL, that is no longer a possibility. So all this stuff is now come crashing down on them. And this is the stuff that I'm hoping for healing.
And it's hard to notice sometimes when you're on that slide, but then you get back up a little bit, you look back, and it's obvious in retrospect. But that's where, it's necessary for young people, and really all of us, regardless of our station in life, to make sure we have someone we can go to, right? Someone that we trust, that, yes, that we can go to, but also that comes to us, meets us where we're at and say, hey, you good? You need a hand? Like, maybe you don't feel like you do, but something's changed, right? I'm here. Take my hand. Yeah. I'm here to walk alongside you.
And I know we've got to go to break, but the crazy thing about what you're just saying now is you see it in the culture this way. There's so much sensitivity. Everybody's got, some softness to them, some Cottonelle, some Ralph Tresvant. They're sensitive, right? Like, you can't even really be real with people. You kind of got to, you got to be PC in some instances where stuff like that, you can't be PC. A good friend is a friend indeed. A good friend is a friend that, even though you may be mad at me, you may not like me, you may not enjoy what I'm about to say of you. I'm about to intervene here, but at the end of the day, I love you. I care for you. I'm doing it because I care for you, right? Mm-hmm. But sometimes it's even hard to get into those conversations because people will look at you as like, who you talking to? Why are you coming at me like this? There's a lot of stuff that can come from it that can ultimately then, even some things you could say to a woman sometimes today, right? So think about guys in even women in high positions. Sometimes you can't even take a meeting with a woman or a guy by yourself because of the potential misunderstanding that can be taken from that. Mm-hmm. So we can't meet for dinner. We need to meet open door. This is the stuff you got to think about these days. Real life stuff. So, I know we got to take a break, but that's kind of, the fortunate things that we can't get into because of a lot of the stuff now that's out there. You don't want to risk getting in trouble or getting sued or, you know what I'm saying?
When the simplest thing to do is to be direct, and it would solve a lot of problems.
Facts.
As long as you're respectful about it, direct is good. But you're right, you do have to take a break because we have the shootout with Strick to get to. Didn't play yesterday, we're playing today, we'll play again tomorrow. $30 to Buffalo Wings and Rings on the line for you. Call now, 402-464-5685. Take on Strick in some trivia. We'll play the game, your chance to win next.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Ready to upgrade your combine with new technology to make your harvest more efficient, meaning more money in your pocket? The team at Landmark Implement is here to help find the right combine for harvest. Plus, when you purchase a pre-owned combine from Landmark, you are backed by Landmark's extensive parts and service network, along with mobile techs and parts drop-off points to keep you up and running, reducing downtime. View inventory online at landmarkimp.com or stop by your local Landmark to experience the Landmark difference.
Hey, CNC machinist, do you feel like you're in a dead-end job with your boss hovering over your shoulder? That's so annoying. Not at Garner Industries. We provide the opportunity and trust our CNC machinists to bring the talent. I'm Bob Williams, HR Director at Garner Industries, and we are looking for new team members in our CNC department. At Garner Industries, you'll work in a clean, climate-controlled, and safe environment with team members who want to see you succeed. You will also enjoy 4-day work weeks, great benefits, and a positive working culture. Interested? Apply on our career page at garnerindustries.com.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric brings exciting career opportunities for you or someone you know. They are now hiring plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs and installers to continually build their professional team. They offer competitive pay and full benefits packages that include health, dental, vision, PTO, and 401k options. Action has created a positive team environment for over 50 years. Apply online at actionlincoln.com.
Are you tired of living in pain? It's time to take control. At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, we're your one-stop shop for expert care in Lincoln. From broken bones to complex reconstruction, our skilled team will help you get back on track. Visit prairieortho.com today and discover why we're the trusted choice for thousands of patients. Don't let pain hold you back. Take the first step towards a better pain-free life with Prairie and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins. Call 402-489-4700.
Junior Achievement of Lincoln inspires and prepares young people for success. Learn more about the people involved in the organization and the success stories over the years each Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. for the Junior Achievement Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
You've driven by GE Landscape Supply countless times, likely without even knowing, at 6701 Cornhusker Highway. Now it's time to stop in. GE Landscape Supply sells to homeowners and contractors with a vast selection of landscaping and construction materials. They sell in bulk to save you money, and you can buy anything from a 5-gallon bucket to a semi-load. And don't forget, they deliver anywhere. Stop by 6701 Cornhusker Highway from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday and 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. Go to GELandscapeSupply.com for more info or call 402-467-1627. Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures, but buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
It's a new era for Nebraska football with a new head coach. Gear up for the season with 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of Big Ten Media Days. Live from Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis on July 26th and 27th. Jay Foreman, Amon Green, Vershawn Jackson, Terrell Farley, Derek Pearson, Steve Sippel, and Jake Sorensen will be in Indy for our shows on Wednesday and Thursday. Coverage of Big Ten Media Days is brought to you by Ben Blaker, a professional realty group of BHHS Ambassador Real Estate, Gary Michaels Clothiers, Warhorse Gaming, A1 Automotive, and the 1890 Initiative.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 10th and P or at 1501 Center Park Road.
It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now, 464-5685, to take your shot against Eric Strickland. Shootout with Strick, brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to get the game!
That's all right. We're playing the Shootout with Strick here on the block, and we have a contestant all ready to go on the Honda of Lincoln hotline. We welcome in Cole. Cole, what's up, man? How you doing today?
Good. How about you?
We're doing well here. Have you played the Shootout before, or are you familiar with the rules?
Well, I have.
Excellent. All right. We'll get Strick his questions first, and then we will get to you. All right, Strick. We're doing Husker football rushing leaders.
Oh, gosh.
We did this with the running back conversation yesterday. That's where the topic comes from. So,
it's going to kill
ready
me.
or not, your round starts in 3, 2, and once I get pulled back up, 1. He's Nebraska football's leader in career rushing yards. Mike Rozier or Johnny Rogers?
Rozier.
Yep. He ran for the most career touchdowns of any Husker quarterback. Tommy Frazier, Eric Crouch?
Crouch.
Yep. He had the longest NFL career of any Husker running back. Amon Green or Roger Craig?
Amon Green.
Yep. And he rushed for the most yards in a single game for Nebraska.
Roy Halou.
Stricky. That's 4 for 4. That is perfection. You're gaslighting me, Strick. You were gaslighting me.
Let's go.
Well done. All right, Cole. You need a perfect round to tie and send it to a tiebreaker. Are you ready?
I don't think so, but I'll try.
All right. Starts here in 3, 2, and 1. He's second all-time in career rushing yards at Nebraska. Amir Abdullah or Amon Green?
Amon Green.
It's Amir. He rushed for the most touchdowns in a single game at Nebraska. Calvin Jones or Lawrence Phillips?
Lawrence Phillips.
It's Calvin Jones. He was the first Husker running back drafted in the 2000s. Darren Diedrich or Correll Buckhalter?
Correll Buck, whatever.
Yep, and he had the most rushing touchdowns in a single season at Nebraska.
Roy Halou.
It is not Roy Halou. It's Mike Rozier, the answer. So, Strick, I'm working on getting your music pulled up. You win. You are the champ. Cole,
See, I see.
Valiant
You
effort.
weren't
Thanks for
expecting me to
playing.
win. I see how you do.
No, we just haven't.
No, I see how you
we haven't played in a while. Cut me some slack. It's been a minute. Okay. Hold that thought. Wait, here we go, Strick. Just for you.
The champ is here. 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 The champ is here.
Did it, champ!
I gotta win, baby. Finally. It's been a
And
while.
not only, Strick, was it a victory, it was 5 out of 5 possible points,
Yes.
4 out of 4. Cole, a valiant effort. You ran into a buzzsaw today.
I really didn't think I'd do well. I really didn't. I wasn't even playing. I really thought I was gonna do terrible.
I still think you're gaslighting me.
Oh man, I mean, I know Nebraska. See, I know Nebraska football, but I didn't. I really kind of was like, dang, I remembered watching that game where Roy Halou went nuts, and that's kind of how I guessed it.
Rico, we were gaslit. I dispatched him through to hold, Rico. We're good.
It's funny because he said like you didn't think that he was going to win because you didn't have the music ready. I'm like, bro, it's been a minute. So
Oh, you know what? Get off the line, Rico.
No, we
Suave.
got a tiebreaker to do real quick.
I need to
So-
beat Rico. I'm already up 9-2.
All right, so Strick, you knew the single game rushing leader for Nebraska was Roy Halou Jr. How many yards did he rush for in his school record performance?
285.
over.
That was quick.
He knew. And I 3 something. I know.
307.
God dang it! I knew it.
307 for
I
Roy
knew it
Halou.
was 300, but I was like, dang,
Do you
that's
know
a lot?
Do you know the team?
Missouri.
Do you know the year?
2008.
2010.
Dang it.
Nebraska's last year in the Big 12.
Dang.
Roy Halou does it.
2-0 versus Stricky already.
But Stricky went 4 for 4 on the real question.
Yeah, you don't count.
We'll give it
Hey,
to
those
you.
were half-court
You don't
shots. What are you
count.
talking about? I just nailed those.
Ooh.
So,
Good job, Rico. Good job, Strick. You win. With that, we turn the page to hour 2 of On the Block. We'll talk some more college football here, some recruiting headlines. Would Matt Rhule have recruited Luke McCaffrey? Would he have had a plan for Luke McCaffrey? That came up because of where one draft expert had Luke McCaffrey ranked on his big board. We still do need caller number 3 to 402-464-5685 to pick up that $30 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Again, if you're interested, 402-464-5685. Be caller 3 for $30 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. He's Eric Strickland. I'm Austin Norman. This is On the Block. We've got more next.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. The home of Kansas City Royals baseball. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Grandma and Grandpa, Mom and Dad, then the kids, and now the grandkids. Jetson Irrigation has provided lawn sprinkler system design,
installation, repair, and service for generations of the family. Loyalty, trust, service. It's what you deserve and expect from Judson Irrigation.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Electric brings exciting career opportunities for you or someone you know. They are now hiring plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs and installers to continually build their professional team. They offer competitive pay and full benefits packages that include health, dental, vision, PTO, and 401k options. Action has created a positive team environment for over 50 years. Apply online at actionlincoln.com.
We have 2 boys, so we need more space. We lived in a townhouse, so we decided to build.
Casey Bowman and her husband Joe built their first home with us. This is Bob Benish of Aspen Builders. Working with the Bowmans was fantastic.
After the first meeting, we really liked them as people.
I was really skeptical about the whole building process, more so than Joe was. If there were problems or issues along the way, they called and explained everything. They just really helped ease my mind.
They were really good about giving us options as far as what fit in the budget, what didn't fit in the budget. They have a designer, Rachel.
She was amazing. She was very helpful in making sure that our house turned out good. I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change the lot. I wouldn't change colors. I love everything about it. Everything. It's perfect for us.
Like the Bowmans, you too can make your dream home a reality. Call us at 423-6811 or online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 205 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 15 years in Lincoln and across Nebraska by offering a number of services. From group homes to independent living resources and job training, you'll find the support that allows people to live fulfilling lives. They're also hiring. If you're looking for a rewarding career supporting people with developmental disabilities, you can check out open positions along with learning more about services at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices.
Hey, CNC machinists, do you feel like you're in a dead-end job with your boss hovering over your shoulder? That's so annoying. Not at Garner Industries. We provide the opportunity and trust our CNC machinists to bring the talent. I'm Bob Williams, HR Director at Garner Industries, and we're looking for new team members in our CNC department. At Garner Industries, you'll work in a clean, climate-controlled, and safe environment. Team members who want to see you succeed. You will also enjoy 4-day work weeks, great benefits, and a positive working culture. Interested? Apply on our career page at garnerindustries.com.
The wait is almost over. The Guardians of Freedom Air Show is the hottest event in the area. Lincoln Airport on 6th and Sunday, August 27th. Elevate your air show experience with tickets to the premium seating tent, padded seats, meals, and more for just $125. Premium tickets are going fast, so buy yours today. To purchase premium tickets and more information, visit LincolnAirShow.com. We'll see you at the Guardians of Freedom Air Show in late August.
It's a new era for Nebraska football with a new head coach. Gear up for the season with 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of Big Ten Media Days. Live from Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis on July 26th and 27th. Jay Foreman, Amon Green, Vershawn Jackson, Terrell Farley, Derek Pearson, Steve Sipple, and Jake Sorensen will be in Indy for our shows on Wednesday and Thursday. Coverage of Big Ten Media Days is brought to you by Ben Bleicher of Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador Real Estate, Gary Michaels Clothing, Warhorse Gaming, A1 Automotive, and the 1890 Initiative. 93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL Weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see areas of fog and partly sunny skies this morning. We'll see in the afternoon storm chance forecast. We'll see a high around 86. Tonight, we'll see chances of storms early, then mostly cloudy skies, a low around 66. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies throughout most of the day. We'll see a high around 87. Meteorologist Kyle Pucker for 93.7 The Ticket and TicketFM.com.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out and
basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America, on air and online at theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Welcome to it, our Eric Strickland shootout with Strick winner. We'll do it again tomorrow, though.
Yeah.
So
Oh, we got it again tomorrow.
we doing it Wednesday and
back?
Thursday, back to back. Yep.
All right.
Normally Tuesdays and Thursdays here on the block, but got a little distracted yesterday. So the beauty of it is we can be flexible. So $30 given away today, another $30 to Buffalo Wings and Rings tomorrow. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, though, is a sponsor of our show. We very greatly appreciate Charles and all the great work he does, keeping us very happy, very satisfied every time we set foot in his building at 27th and Pine Lake.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or the food truck.
Boy, I wish I could get out there today, but being that there's things I must attend to a little bit later, I'm not going to be able to go. I'm a little bit disappointed because I went out there last week and the catfish with the macaroni and the freaking yams were, so delicious. Ooh. So delicious.
Fire.
Yes, absolutely. It was beautiful to see everybody come into that building, and they were happy. There were smiles on their faces. They were sitting down. It was families. It was couples. It was singles. Yeah, it was a little bit of everybody in there. The place was full, so it's beautiful that Charles continue to do the wonderful work that you do, my friend.
Absolutely. 402-464-5685 if you want to get into the show, chime in on our next topic. Sartor Heyman Jeweler sex line or Honda of Lincoln hotline as well if you have some thoughts you want to verbalize. Or if you're watching on the stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, we see you. You comment, we see it. So drop a comment if you've got anything to add. We appreciate you tuning in for On the Block for 2 hours from 2 to 4 every weekday here on 93.7 The Ticket. All right, Strick, the topic here is Nebraska football related mostly. The topic came up because Dane Brugler of The Athletic put out an article about the 2024 NFL wide receivers in the draft, the upcoming draft after this next season. Number one on his list, without a doubt, Marvin Harrison Jr. Kid's a stud. Absolutely incredible. Sure. His teammate Emeka Egbuka, number 3 on that list. But he didn't just list the top.
Do they got somebody to throw the ball to him? I'm sorry. We don't know. It's still yet to be seen. TBD on
that one.
Yeah.
But he didn't just list like his top 10 or whatever. Dane Brugler went in, and the way he did it was he listed his top 15 seniors and his top 15 draft eligible underclassmen. So essentially the top 30 in the class. Number 15 of the draft eligible seniors, I guess, Luke McCaffrey, once and former Nebraska quarterback, transferred to Louisville, didn't see the field, ends up transferring out to Rice. Played quarterback at Rice, played mostly quarterback at Nebraska, but had a breakout year, really, for Rice as a wide receiver last season. His stats were pretty solid. He had 58 catches for 723 yards and 6 touchdowns. Also ran the ball 12 times for 150 yards. And that's what we saw at Nebraska. We saw the speed. We saw the athleticism. Talented athlete. What we didn't see was a great arm. What we didn't see was a lot of processing speed. What we saw was some panic at quarterback, which, okay, he's young. I get it. Maybe work through it. But when you watch Luke McCaffrey play at Nebraska, you saw an athlete more than you saw a quarterback, especially when they used him at running back for that play against Ohio State, when they split him out wide sometimes. A lot of the, concerns people had about Lamar Jackson coming out of Louisville, I think were more applicable to Luke McCaffrey in some ways, right? Being an athlete, not having a great arm, can he process fast enough, yada, yada, yada. Lamar's done enough to assuage those concerns. Luke McCaffrey clearly didn't. And this is where it's interesting to me, Strick. The Nebraska angle of this is, did Nebraska have a plan for Luke McCaffrey? It's hard for me to say Nebraska had a plan for how to handle Luke McCaffrey.
Yeah. Okay. I think if you look at the way that things went down towards the end of Scott Frost's tenure, there are some things that you kind of heard around the rumor mill with regards to effort, time in office, Some other things that you might have heard through the rumor mill were, certain recruits that had interest and the ball got dropped somehow. Usually if the ball gets dropped in those situations, it usually comes from the top. So I can't say it was an assistant. So with how games panned out, the debacle in Northwestern and Ireland, just the way your mind would come to the conclusion that at this moment in time, score, situation is something we always talked about when I played in the NBA. In that time, score, and situation, you decide to do an onside kick. That would tell me that probably your mind is not necessarily on those type of things, which I thought that could have been a conversation. It's one that I definitely would like to have with Cluster because he actually did it.
That's right.
Cluster Johnson actually went from quarterback to wingback and was the best on the team at that time. So when I look at this situation, a lot of times what you see, Austin, is quarterbacks can go down there and be a skilled position player. You rarely, and probably we can talk about one or two people that have come from being a skilled player into a quarterback position.
The only one that comes to mind for me is Ryan
Tannehill. So,
and like you said, that's kind of out of necessity more than anything.
That was kind of like, thrown on him, and he ended up doing very well in it, and it ended up making him a career. So I would say that if Rhule now was in the position, I would think that he would consider that because a talent with the running gifts that he has, the athleticism and the abilities and the explosion and all of those wonderful things that comes with him, I wouldn't want to let that go to waste. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I would see that more on a Rhule dynasty than on a Frost, like
era. Yeah. This is where I think there are really two ways to break down what happened with Luke McCaffrey at Nebraska under the old staff. Either the old staff truly saw him as a quarterback, and that's a miss in evaluation. That's misreading the arm, the talent he had to play quarterback, or lack of development to some degree. But either way, they saw him as a quarterback and they weren't able to make him one, or they knew he wasn't a quarterback. Like they could see it clear as day, but they kept him there anyways to placate the family.
Well, what's crazy about that is it's one of two things also. Either Scott, who did that in order to become an NFL player, which he didn't stay, but he just didn't have the will to stay. But he did that. So you would think that someone who did that would be able to have an observation of, another person under his leadership to be able to make that kind of, have that kind of conversation. There's a conversation that needs to be had. If you're going to have that conversation, Austin, the way you've got to do it, right? Because most kids, most young men, prideful, right? I was the best at what I did when I did it. I'm here. I'm still good at what I do, and I believe that I'm still that. You know what I'm saying? So when you have that mindset, initially what ends up coming into play is you're going to be stuck and mired in it unless someone's able to pull you out of it. And the way that you pull a young man out of a situation like that, Austin, is by way of telling them a story, showing them a vision, and helping them to see it with their own eyes outside of what they believe. You have to paint a picture and sell that story so well. So there was a unique way you went about talking about it. Break that down.
Yeah. So if you like a recruit who's playing one position, but you don't see him there, number one, it takes vision, right? You as the coach have to be the adult in projecting out to take a total look at the skill set and say, this is where we see you fitting. It wouldn't be talking down his ability to play quarterback. It wouldn't be saying you suck at this, your arm's too weak, yada, yada, yada. What you would do is say, You step foot on campus, you're one of the 5 fastest guys on the team. You set foot on campus, you're blowing by a couple of our DBs. There's no one in the Big Ten that can hang with you. You're quick. You can do stuff with the ball in your hands after the catch. You talk up their ability at the skill position, whether it's running back, receiver, tight end. Because if all you do is put them down about the thing they want to do, immediate turnoff. They tune you out. If you build them up for your vision for them, I feel like that's the way you crack that door open. And then you have to really work with them on developing them, because if it doesn't work, that's going to get around. Oh, coach never gave me a shot here. He saw me somewhere else. I don't know why I ever fell for it. That's where, again, identification and honestly then the validation of putting that work in and seeing the success are the 2 biggest things a coach needs in a situation like that.
I mean, I think you've got to even look at the Tommy Hill situation.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I think Tommy, to be honest, is in the place he should be at the cornerback, or defensive back, whatever position you decide to put him in. But McCaffrey, when you have those type of gifts, and I'm glad to see it working out, I think I wouldn't have let him go, to be honest. Sometimes you have that kind of talent. You want to figure out a space for that. I mean, it was very similar to when Coach Osborne, the whole time, I hadn't played football in years, but yet he's like, we got to get you out here. And if you don't have a freaking playbook, and they're like, they passed the ball. I told you this story. I think they passed the ball more that day than they passed probably the whole season. That was trickery. That's what we're talking about. Selling or showing you the vision. They threw the ball like there's no way they were going to throw the ball. Look,
you're no sucker.
I'm a foolish man sometimes, but I ain't no sucker. I knew, if I was going to play with the Huskers, it was going to be on the defensive side. I mean, I knew that was just where my was going to be best suited for my skills, because you were not throwing the ball and I wasn't going to be frustrated blocking all day. I mean, I like blocking, but I don't mind. I'm not like that.
No.
You know what I mean? I got great hands. I'm trying to catch that thing, on the regular if I'm going to do it. So,
That leads me to a couple more questions with McCaffrey. I think a lot of the idea to stick at quarterback was his, because he wanted to play quarterback at Louisville. And then he tried it at Rice. It didn't go very well. I mean, he threw 5 touchdowns and 10 interceptions in his career as a quarterback. So sometimes, Strick, I think there's a completely valid human element to this, is that we have an idea in our heads, regardless of what it is in our lives or our careers. But sometimes the light bulb clicks on at different times. For those of us watching from afar, it's maybe easier for the light bulb to click that says, yep, that's a wide receiver. Don't let the athletic gifts go to waste. For Luke McCaffrey, he has a vision for his own career, how he wants it to go, how he wants his future to play out. So maybe it did take the struggles at Nebraska, the not getting on the field to play quarterback at Louisville, and then a pretty mediocre year in a few games playing quarterback at Rice to open his eyes and say, okay, now it's time for me to play wide receiver. The time's right. I'm not cutting it here, but I know I still have my athletic gifts to fall back on.
Yeah. Sometimes it does take that. You're right, Austin. Go ahead.
And that's where, if we fast forward to this Matt Rhule version, if Matt Rhule's recruiting Luke McCaffrey, I'm fascinated to know what that pitch would be. Would he say, yeah, you can come in and give quarterback a try? Or would he be direct and say, we see you more as a receiver. We're recruiting you because of your athletic ability, and we want to get the ball in your hands, in space to make plays. I think that's the approach Matt Rhule would take. And again, if you disagree, that's fine. Some of this, I'm sure, is motivated by that hindsight bias, right? Well, it's obvious now that Luke McCaffrey should have been a wide receiver. But what we've seen from this staff in, wrapping up a 2023 recruiting class, building a 2024 class, and starting a 2025 class, they identify traits, they go after guys, and you have to have a vision, right? For these guys that don't have Power 5 offers, you have to be creative with how you see these guys and playing a role. Luke McCaffrey was recruited. Look at his last name. He had offers.
Oh, he's got pedigree.
Absolutely. But that's also where I think a vision comes into play. Like his dad's a receiver. His brother's maybe the best receiving back in the NFL. Another brother did play quarterback, yes. But if I'm Matt Rhule, the pitch is most of your family catches the ball. If that's in your blood, you're good at it. that's how we see it. Maybe Luke McCaffrey wants to play quarterback. He never comes to Nebraska. But I would trust Matt Rhule and his staff to make that proper evaluation to say Luke McCaffrey is a wide receiver from the jump instead of leaving all the what ifs or confusion around the situation.
Yeah, that's true. And let's get to the great point, by the way, Austin. Let's get to the text line a little bit. John in Cortland says, those guys believe that is what they are, confident and arrogant. So that's dealing with a quarterback sometimes. The mentality is that's what you got to have. You got to have that type of mentality. You don't have Tom Brady probably if you don't have that type of mentality when everybody's looking at you a certain way. One texter, unnamed texter 2712 says he somehow beat Penn State. Laugh emoji. That's hilarious. He somehow beat Penn State.
Helped by a defensive touchdown.
There you go.
And holding on late. That second half was not pretty.
Yeah. Craig has a very interesting take, and this goes back to what you were talking about as far as the development aspect of it, and I think they're probably right. And the reason I would say they're right, he says Mario Verduzco was a bad coach. Now, here's where I think that comes into play, because
Adrian.
I almost said Taylor. That's why I had to make sure.
Taylor.
That's why I had to, I almost said Taylor. But Adrian, you could tell that he had the tools. He just didn't seem to progress. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But then goes down to K-State and does pretty well until he got injured.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say I think I can, look at that and say that could have been why, we didn't see more out of McCaffrey is his development was lacking.
Either those guys maxed out at Nebraska and what we saw was their ceiling, or there was more in there that Nebraska didn't get out of both of those guys in Adrian Martinez and Luke McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm.
Mario Verduzco knows more about has forgotten more about the quarterback position than I'll ever know. I'm not in a great position to judge, but what I can tell, Strick, is exactly what you're saying. Adrian Martinez didn't consistently improve in tangible ways through his time at Nebraska. It was up and down. It was a roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Development isn't ever linear. It's very rare, if ever, that happens. But by the end of his career, there are so many ups and downs, right?
Mm-hmm.
By his third year on campus, he plays 18-19. By 2020, he should have been established enough to the point that Luke McCaffrey isn't challenging him, that it's not even a thought, that
Mm-hmm.
McCaffrey only comes in if Adrian's banged up. That wasn't the case. It was still a question.
It was open.
Adrian was still struggling.
Yeah.
Some of that falls on the player. Some of that has to fall on the circumstances. Some of that has to fall on the coaching. So that's where, again, I think it's just so important to have a plan, stick with guys, but don't necessarily be beholden to one position, right? Like Antoine Randall made the jump. Record-breaking quarterback at Indiana. NFL wide receiver for the Steelers. Hines Ward, Julian Edelman, Joshua Cribbs, great kick returner. Ronald Curry, Peter Warwick, all guys that played quarterback, but their coaches had a plan for him. This is where we see you. And they stuck to that plan. They were diligent enough to work to that plan. And to what John and Cortland's saying, it's, what they think they are. They're confident, they're arrogant. That can work both ways, right? In being too stubborn to make a position switch, or in being confident enough to believe in your abilities that you're willing to make the position switch and bet on yourself to make it a smooth, successful transition.
Yeah, and speaking along those lines, I think Brad has a pretty good take, because this goes back to the coaching situation and maybe not seeing things clearly. We don't know why that was the case, but he says, Brad from the Sutter Heyman text line says, we also thought that Wan'Dale Robinson was a between the tackle running back. Which is absolutely true. And which in some instances, I mean, I had an opportunity to meet his family and father. And in some instances, it was a lot of stuff that they were doing that was out, they were concerned, they were expressing, and they were saying, look, this isn't me. And guess what? He finds himself in Kentucky, understood the mission, the plan, and sold it to him. And then next thing you know, he becomes a NFL draft pick. Oh, what, second round?
Second day. NFL draft pick.
Yeah.
Again, the power of having a plan, the power of being consistent, and it all starts with the identification, of identifying the strengths and the weaknesses and then committing to them. So I might run that past J and DP in the crossover. see what they think. Again, it's not trying to cry over spilled milk. It's not, sour grapes about him. We wish him the best. This is a guy that's going to get an NFL look as a wide receiver. More power to him. It just makes you wonder what if, from the Nebraska point of view. We'll step aside. We'll keep talking some sports here on The Block. He's Eric Strickland. I'm Austin Norman. More of the show next.
H&H Roofing, established in 2015, is proud to serve the area, which includes in Nebraska, Iowa, and Dakota. H&H Roofing has a professional team that are licensed and bonded, GAF Master Certified Installers, and an insurance-preferred contractor that will work directly with your insurance company. Also a leading roofer, siding, and gutter specialist. H&H Roofing will service all residential, commercial, and agricultural needs. Go to HNHroofs.com for more information or call 402-359-2546.
You've driven by GE Landscape Supply countless times, likely without even knowing, at 6701 Cornhusker Highway. Now it's time to stop in. GE Landscape Supply sells to homeowners and contractors with a vast selection of landscaping and construction materials. They sell in bulk to save you money, and you can buy anything from a 5-gallon bucket to a semi-load. And don't forget, they deliver anywhere. Stop by 6701 Cornhusker Highway from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday, and 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. Go to GELandscapeSupply.com for more info or call 402-467-1627.
General contractors, business owners, property owners. The success of your business requires doing business with the right people. And the right people, when it comes to drywall, acoustical ceilings, and specialty products, are at Premier Drywall. Kevin and his crew will give your project the response and attention it deserves.
You'll get all of the attention to detail and quality that you would expect from someone who's been in the business for 30 years. For your new builds, build-outs, or renovations, reach out to Kevin. Kevin at PremierDW.com. Premier Drywall in Lincoln.
The Southern Pecan Cake from Beatrice Bakery. They don't just let you call anything Southern, especially when it's baked right here in Nebraska. There are standards you have to meet, like a rich, decadent, moist caramel cake? Check. Bursting with too many large pecans to count? Check. Big enough to share with the whole group? Check. But delicious enough that you won't want to share? A big check on that one. The Southern Pecan Cake, the newest cake to the Beatrice Bakery lineup. Try it for yourself at Beatrice Bakery. Online at BeatriceBakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
You don't think about your roof very often, but you should never take it for granted. Roofing Service Company takes every measure to provide you with the highest quality roofing solution. Whether it's a new roof installation, roof repair, or a re-roofing project, their overall goal is to provide you with a pleasant experience and a long-lasting roof. If you have a need for siding or gutters, they're your place too. Visit roofingservicecompany.com for more info today.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza, the big one, all the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
It's a spend.
Iron High continue self-motivated individuals. Iron has openings for an experienced project manager, estimator, apprentice, skilled laborer, and erector or installer. They will train the right people and make sure you understand the position and requirements. At Ironhide Construction, it's own it, be honest, and do it right. Apply today and learn more about their other benefits at ironhideconstruction.com, where they're committed to you every step of the way.
Arnold's Tavern in Havelock is the place to be this summer, and the best place in town for shuffleboard. Come on Wednesdays and learn from some of the best players in town for the Shuffleboard Corner. Come on Sundays for Open House League all day starting at 11 a.m. and enjoy $3 tall boys and $3 wells. Shake off the start to the work week with karaoke on Monday nights. And don't forget, happy hour is every day from 3 to 6 p.m., and you are always welcome to bring in your own food. Arnold's Tavern in the heart of Havelock.
The wait is almost over. The Guardians of Freedom Air Show is the hottest event in the area. Coming to Lincoln's Air Park on Saturday, August 26th and Sunday, August 27th. Elevate your air show experience with tickets to the premium seating tent, padded seats, meals, and more for just $125. Premium tickets are going fast, so buy yours today. To purchase premium tickets and for more information, visit LincolnAirShow.com. We'll see you at the Guardians of Freedom Air Show in late August.
Too many people believe that chronic pain, allergies, or illness are permanent and something you're stuck with. Novotny Nutrition and Wellness has been proving that narrative wrong for 29 years and changing lives for the better in the process. Their team is trained in the newest, most advanced pain-relieving techniques and ways to deal with toxins, allergies, pollution, and emotion that make you ill. Call today for a free consultation at 531-254-5695 or go to novotnynutritionandwellness.com. Novotny Nutrition and Wellness, located at 7th Period.
On the block with
This is On the Block. Austin Norman, Eric Strickland with you. Text line, you're popping off. We're going to get to you here in this segment. Keep the Husker conversation going. Augie said, didn't the OC at the time say that Luke picked up the wide receiver playbook faster than anyone he'd ever seen? Maybe. I don't remember that specifically. But, again, you can't be a dummy to play the quarterback position. Like, you just can't get away with not knowing a playbook. And this is a guy that played both quarterback and wide receiver in high school. So it stands to reason that he picked it up quickly.
Yeah.
Just didn't translate.
Yeah. That's something that if you're an athlete, you're that. Like, I had never played the wide receiver position before my sophomore year, and then I'm all-state. If you're an athlete, they can put you wherever. That's probably why I didn't play my senior years, because I'm looking at it and I'm like, dang, Cluster's gone. I'm a receiver, new quarterback. Who's going to throw to me? This is how Ohio State's feeling right now. How's this going to work? We've got one of the best, two of the best receivers in the country, and we've got to figure out if he's going to be able to get the ball to us.
Right.
So like I'm trying to figure this whole thing out, Austin. I'm like, God darn it. I'm gonna have to play quarterback, running back, receiver, linebacker, DN. I'm gonna get killed. No, I'm not playing. That goes into the decision. Yeah. So, but they can put you anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
They'll find a spot for you if you're you're good enough and you have some intellect about yourself.
Right. Craig says he's still very concerned about the strength and conditioning program. It was great when Boyd Epley kept stats and gave Lifter of the Year accountability. Here's the thing, that stuff still happens. They track everything that goes on in that weight room, and not just the numbers of how much weight did you get up for how many reps. They track how much energy you're actually exerting, how much force you create when you push through the ground, when you're squatting, how explosive you are with the bench press, right? Like, the technology's gotten better.
Way better.
The difference is that everyone's doing it now, right? That's the difference. That's what made Nebraska great. It wasn't they had
cutting edge,
the Lifter of the Year. It's that they were actually lifting. Michigan State's coach said, no, it's going to slow our players down. So they didn't lift. So what Nebraska did was they started lifting. And yes, accountability is a big part of that, especially in the early days when you're trying to get that off the ground. You can always use more accountability, but that has to be, I think, for the most part, teammate to teammate, pushing each other. Being honest with each other about the work you're putting in, but just giving out Lifter of the Year and keeping stats wasn't what made Nebraska good.
No, I think when you go back to that time, there was something that was unique about it that they some teams do, but a lot of teams don't do anymore. There and if you're watching on the stream, you will understand. If not, I'll tell you. But there's one thing that a teams used to do is we're going to ground. You hear it in UFC now. We're going to ground and pound you. We're going to be more physical than you, and we're going to win in the trenches. And then we're going to be better conditioned than you. So every time the fourth quarter happened, you would see them put up 4. Every dang team, we're better than you in our conditioning. We're stronger than you, and now this is where we're going to show you who we are, right? That's what sealed the deal in a lot of teams, and that's what Nebraska was good at. They were good at we're going to ground you and pound you, and you know what's coming, and there's nothing you're going to do about it. And when we get to the fourth quarter, you're going to know that you've been in the worst battle of your life. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
that was the mentality of Nebraska football back then, and now facilities, people have caught up because Nebraska used to be on the cutting edge of everything back in the day. But now teams have caught up, the technologies, all of that stuff is now next level. There's nothing that you're going to be able to do that another can't do. So it's about you, the program, Can't be just about the brand. It's got to be about the vision and making it plain and executing it.
Craig also said, we have zero proof of Rhule being successful here. And to me, he says, sounds like you're doing cake stands at the Kool-Aid bar, which is funny. But here's the thing, Craig, I agree. We don't have any track record of him being successful here. He and that whole staff have to prove it. But the reason Luke McCaffrey and that hypothetical is interesting to me is Strick, DP and I, before the show, before he got in, went over the 5 guys that have changed positions this offseason. John Bullock moving down from safety to linebacker, has played on special teams. We'll see if he makes a difference. Coaching staff seems to like him. Okay, cool. Show me what you got this fall, big fella. AJ Rollins, tight end to defensive end, made a splash, was wrecking havoc. And you can say, well, that's an offensive line that underachieved last year. Sure, fine, true. But that's a guy that had offers to play defense out of high school that they said, yep, make the switch. And in spring practice, he made an impact initially. That's identification.
Even when the tight end position was open.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead.
Absolutely. Brody Tagaloa, same thing. Janarin Bonner, guy recruited as a wide receiver. They moved to fullback.
Yeah.
And again, haven't seen a fullback around here for 5+ years. We've only really seen him in, again, spring practice in the spring game. But all the reviews from not just the coaching staff, not just propaganda, but people that are at least supposed to be objective about it say, he looks the part. It seems like this is going to be a good move. And then you brought up Tommy Hill, right? Defensive back to wide receiver, back to defensive back. At least there's a plan there. They're not just keeping him at wide receiver because that's where the old staff had him. We have to wait and see if their evaluations are correct. But the early signs, the early returns are at least there's a plan. And if there's a plan and it goes wrong, at least you had a plan. If you're just winging it, you never gave yourself a chance.
Yeah. I think that's the key to it. I mean, I think in anything in our lives that we're connected to, we're doing, or we're working on, just take, for instance, you want to build a freaking deck. You've got plans to, wifey said, hey, we're tired of sitting on this little flat in this grass area. We would love a nice little deck. Papa, let's get to work. You have an option. You have an option to hire staff to do it. You have an option to go find some plans, get some plans, go get some wood and get to work. I mean, me and my dad did that. We built the deck. You know what I mean? So, but once you get the plan, if you deviate from the plan or you don't tell others about the plan, then the plan can't be executed and it can't be completed. So you need to make sure that you're on one accord. You need to make sure that there's understanding. You need to make sure that they also see it. Because if they don't see it, then it's not a plan. You know what I mean? If they can't see it, then it's not a plan. Then you're running haphazardly. You have no direction. And without direction, you can't channel focus. For example, if I have a microscope, like or a magnifying glass, a magnifying glass on its own, if I just look at you, it's going to look blurry, But if I put it in the sun and I channel it in a direction, it can burn fire. So it depends on what you have with the vision. It's vision.
It's right there.
Magnified. It's the magnified vision. What idea you have with the vision could determine the power of the tool that's being used.
Absolutely. Notorious B.I.B. Said, we seem to have lost that smash mouth mentality when we got rid of the fullback. This is where I think this is an eras sort of thing, because you can still be smash mouth without a fullback, right? You have to be able to, right? Again, you go to Oregon and Ohio State are the examples I go to. When's the last time either of those two schools under, Chip Kelly, Oregon, I suppose, and what Ohio State's done since Urban Meyer got there, they haven't used fullbacks more than 5% of the time, if that. Maybe they'll use a tight end as one here and there.
Yeah.
But it comes down to being bigger, faster, stronger on the offensive line, of being committed to running the football, doing it well situationally when you have to, of imposing your will. And that has nothing to do with a fullback or not a fullback. It's everything to do with 11 guys on the field working together. The commitment from the top of the food chain all the way down to the bottom of the roster, of not just thinking it, but believing it. And then again, staying committed to it, having that full belief and trust in the plan, putting everything you have toward the plan, more so than, we got rid of a fullback, now we're soft.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just the fullback position in itself, because you can still be a strong and dominant team. I mean, let's be real about it. Derrick Henry and those crews, when they had them and Trent, Richardson and those guys, they would line up one back and just get after you. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the fullback. It's a mentality. It's where I see it. It's not necessarily a position, but it's a mentality.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, win the trenches and you win. Texter 4189 says
simple.
That's what it comes down to.
Simple. No, it's not complicated. That's simple. Win the trenches and you win. This is why I was scared, and you weren't here yet, but I maybe have mentioned it. But when we talked about, there's been times that we've discussed how worried I was. Were you here last spring? You wasn't here last spring.
No.
So in the last spring, Nate and I was talking about watching that spring game and how worried I was that there was no movement on the offensive end. But then when there was movement, it was the defense that was being moved. Mm-hmm. And there was holes and gaps everywhere. And I was like, ooh, this is going to be trouble. Yeah. They, if they don't find a way to lock that down, it's going to be trouble. Now, that's why I'm interested in seeing what our new DC is going to be able to do, because watching film, I got a chance to go back and watch some film on what he did at Syracuse. Mm-hmm. And I loved how he found ways to gap and, throw some tricks, throw some, drops and just different things. He was very creative. I don't think he had as much talent as he probably has on this, this roster, but he made it work. He posed a challenge in some instances, but it's going to be interesting to see, what he does with it.
There are only, here's the thing. There are a lot of gaps you have to fill, but there are also only so many.
Yeah.
Right. And with the 3-3-5 being maybe a different look than a lot of Big Ten teams are used to, with how amoeba-ish amorphous it can be, just make sure all the gaps are filled. Right. And you can do it in multiple ways, especially if you recruit the athletes to it. Right. But it's being physically ready and mentally ready. If you're going to throw a lot of looks at a team, a lot of guys have to be ready for a lot of different stuff. I doubt we see the full unleashed 3-3-5 in year one. By year 2 or 3, you should be able to see some pieces. And then by year 4, you're on the same page. You're rocking and rolling with that thing.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Last thing before we head to the crossover at DP and J on Old School, the Nebraska Football Hall of Fame was announced yesterday, headlined by Troy Dumas, linebacker from 91 to 94, all Big 8 first team as a senior. A lot of good stats. Sam Cook, a little Seward connection there. I think my dad taught him when he was in high school. Kyle Vandenbosch, the defensive line. I will never get over those red contacts anymore. Just bizarre. Yeah. And here's one trick that I didn't realize was going to get fans up in arms. Taylor Martinez. I saw some fans on Twitter saying, well, what's he doing in the Nebraska Hall of Fame? Are we going to take Taylor Martinez for granted now? We know his flaws. Don't forget how exciting that boy was when we watched him run.
Taylor, if he hit a hole, he was out of there. Yeah, he was very much out of there, and there was no catching him. Yeah, he was special from that standpoint. I understand some of the frustrations that came with it. To me, again, it was very similar in ways to Adrian.
Yep.
It just seemed that the progression just didn't get to a peak. He didn't peak out, but he was always gifted at running that ball. So he was good there.
We remember him for his senior year when he had the turf toe, didn't play a lot, and you started seeing more of Tommy Armstrong, who was his backup at that point. But as a junior, Taylor Martinez, first team, all Big Ten, 3,890 yards of total offense, season record, 33 touchdowns, freshman All-American, Big 12 Offensive Newcomer of the Year in 2010, over 10,000 yards of total offense in essentially 3.5 seasons. We know the flaws with Taylor Martinez, but he had the numbers, he had the accolades. He's deserving of
it. Yeah, I mean, he's there. So somebody, obviously thought so. I don't ever want to knock somebody's, accolade in career. I'm not. So he's there. Let me just say he made it. He's in. You may not like it. I understand too some of the understanding behind that, but that man's in.
For as flawed as he was, he had a lot of special moments, put up the numbers, and again, won 9 games every year as a starter. He was part of that era. So I think Taylor Martinez deserves it. Let's ask Jay. How about that when he comes in to go over that aspect of it? We'll cross it over with Old School next to wrap up on the block.
If you want all the latest technologies from those banks, but you also want that hometown feel when you walk in the door, choose Midwest Bank. Technology. Make banking so easy, and they also have the friendliest. You get to both fields when you choose Midwest Bank. At Midwest Bank, I have everything I need at my fingertips. I'm volleyball player Allie Batenhorst, and at Midwest Bank, you'll love banking here.
Load up on meat and more this summer at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's specials through July 25th are $2 off a pound of Denver steaks. And don't forget to check out their Friday feast this week and every week. Plus, big news, they have 2 new locations opening soon at 27th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln and 168th and Maple in Omaha, with soft openings in mid-July. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Easier, come to Oak Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you can join your much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at Oak Street Carpet. Oak Street Carpet. 1732 Oak Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Whether you're looking for a new place to call home or trying to sell your current home, you want to make it as easy as possible. So why not use a realtor that works harder so you don't have to? The Carpe Diem team at Nebraska Realty is your go-to realty team for all your residential and commercial needs. They pride themselves on working hard and making your life as easy as possible while educating you every step of the way. Contact the Carpe Diem team to seize your moment, whether it be buying, selling, building, investing, or even commercial real estate. Give them a call today at 402-429-8121.
You deserve the best. With a Liberty First MasterCard, you can pay down your high-rate debt and could save hundreds when you transfer the balance. The Liberty First Credit Union MasterCard there's no cash advance fees and no fee. It's 9.9% AP, and you choose rewards. You'll be able to manage your way. Visit libertyfirstcu.com. Rates and terms are based on your credit and subject to change. Federally insured by NCUA. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Nieder House Refuse Roll-Off and Recycling wants to show their gratitude to our troops, first responders, police, firefighters, and military families for all they've endured. Their courage, sacrifices, and dedication will never be forgotten. They appreciate you. This message from Nieder House Refuse Roll-Off and Recycling, whose quality service and expertise has earned them a fine reputation. Stop by 1905 Yolande Avenue in Lincoln or call 402-475-8361. Nieder House Refuse Roll-Off and Recycling, wishing our military, neighbors, and friends a safe and happy summer season.
Gray Diesel and Equipment Services is your go-to place in Lincoln for repairs and maintenance for diesel pickups to Class 8 over-the-road trucks and trailers, from bumper pole utility to full-size semi. Gray performs DOT inspections and are a service provider for fleet companies like ARI, Element Fleet, and FleetNet. They're a family-owned business in operation since 1952, and they keep a clean, friendly shop. Customer service is their top priority. Give Gray Diesel and Equipment Services a visit today, with easy access just off I-80 and North 56th Street.
Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Smoked meats, amazing sides. The only problem when they fix you a plate is at some point, that plate will be empty. But hear me out. What if that plate was never empty? That dream can be your reality with the Mary Ellen's Express Lunch Buffet. From 11 to 2 every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and even Saturday. One price, all you can eat, and it even comes with a drink. Tell your boss you're taking a long lunch and get down there. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul at 29th and Pine Lake. Let them fix you a plate.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see areas of fog and partly sunny skies this morning. We'll see an afternoon storm chance in the forecast. We'll see a high around 86. Tonight, we'll see a chance of storms early, then mostly cloudy skies, a little around 66. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies throughout most of the day. We'll see a high around 87. The meteorologist Kyle Pucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Jay Foreman joins us. What up, JFF?
Hey.
93.7 The Ticket after dark is coming. It's on its way.
That's the best news I heard right there. I gotta get confirmation.
You gotta get confirmation, JP.
Oh.
We won't confirm. We'll leave it to DP to bring up.
We'll let DP handle that. Good news, though. Some good news. We won't share it, but we'll have DP definitely drop it like it's hot if he's gonna drop it.
We were just talking about
none yet. That's 93.7 The Ticket after dark.
I got you.
Okay.
All right, Jay, for the crossover, it's going to be your choice here. Do you want to talk about Taylor Martinez or Luke McCaffrey?
That's like what type of diarrhea you want.
Pause. What?
You don't want it's like you know what? I'll do Luke McCaffrey.
Okay. So
oh gosh.
The Athletics draft guy has him as the number 15 senior wide receiver. Not overall.
What type of diarrhea?
Yes.
Serious.
But
Ooh. Comedy. We at Comedy Central here on the block.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. He done came up like the mob, man. I take that back.
Okay.
Comedy
so
Central.
I have it pulled up. Number 15 senior wide receiver.
Right.
My question for you is, looking at this current Nebraska staff, two-part question. Number one, do they recruit Luke McCaffrey? And number two, if they do they see him as a quarterback or wide receiver?
I think they recruit him. All jokes aside, I always felt his best position was a playmaker position.
Mm-hmm.
I do, and I'm pretty sure maybe he wanted to play quarterback, because he probably
in his mind.
But he probably played all through high school.
Mm-hmm.
His dad was no joke, and his mom was even a better athlete, I think. So the
pedigree's there.
The pedigree's there, and his brother.
Mm-hmm.
I always felt like for him, he needed to be in a playmaking position first, and then if he continues to improve, push him back to quarterback. I think where he's at now, I think he finally has come to terms with it, and I think he could have came to terms with it here if it was handled differently on both sides. Right now,
facts.
And now that's what I do think. I think the I can't say this, but I'm saying if the communication was ongoing and clear, I think he would have not left kind of like COVID. I'm going to stay. Oops, my scholarship went through. I'm in the portal, because that's when you can go to the portal any day, because once your scholarship's good, you're good for the rest of the semester. Now on to where he's at now. I'm not surprised. And you know what? I will tell you this. Rice is going to be better than he's at Rice, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
They're going to be better than what people think, because they got a big time quarterback for them out of the portal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, if he's truly the 15th ranked senior wide receiver, and the quarterback plays up to his capabilities, and he can pick him up and put him down, he's going to be top 10. And when he goes to the combine,
He's gonna show and prove that.
So I'm gonna tell you this, and this is not about a black-white thing. You know who helps him? Cooper Kupp.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
And then what else helps him even more? His family lineage.
Brother.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so if he stays healthy, this staff would recruit him. He might just be an athlete, but they would recruit him.
They'd have a plan for it.
Yeah. Let me throw this at you. If that was the case, and you were a part of that staff or that staff in that transition, and it's your job to show and sell the vision, how do you do it? How would you do it
with this staff?
No. If you were part of the staff that wanted to retain and make sure, because I believe as you do that it wasn't sold and told to him. I think that ball was dropped and it wasn't handled. But if that was the case, how do you convey that and show that? Because you have to show them the vision. How would you have done it if that was the case?
If I didn't have anybody that went through it before, I'm bringing the wide receiver coach in this case in with him, and obviously the quarterback coach and the head coach. And I'm having continuous meetings, but I'm showing him comparable players that we know athletically you can, become, and tell him, show him stories. And then also, look, quarterback's not dead, but look, I think Adrian was still here. And so part of the reason why he jumped in the portal so quick, because he's like, I've only played quarterback. Maybe they've only talked to him about being quarterback. Scott kind of pushed back on it because I think he, in one of his press conferences, and he probably didn't want to ruin his confidence. But I think you don't ruin the confidence if you explain to him this is for the better. My only personal experience with that is when I went from outside linebacker starting to middle. And that had to be sold to me because I had to do something totally different. And there's a distinct difference. So for him, it's a distinct difference going from the guy that's controlling the play to the guy that's being controlled by the play calls and the coverage. But I'd have the lines of community. And then also I asked his parents to come in as well. So his parents, or his dad in particular, I'm leaning on him as well. Say, look, your son is one of the best athletes. He was easily one of the best athletes on the team. He's a playmaker, and he has every time he seemed like he touched the ball, he was doing something positive with it. I'm trying to accentuate that. I'm not trying to knock your son from playing quarterback, but you can't deny, Ed McCaffrey, that Adrian isn't, better than him and is going to get 85-90% of the snaps. Now, there's no guarantee that 10% is going to go his way because we are still trying to win some games. So in order to maximize this, to go from a not guaranteed 10% of the playing time to 40 or 50% playing time, I'm looking at Wandell and say, look, I would also fall on the source. I learned some mistakes from Wandell, how we used him. So this is how you're going to benefit from it, because we're not going to put him in the backfield. We're putting him in matchups. We're going to have him do everything. And he will play sometimes a quarterback, kind of a la what Minnesota did to us when we were up there. They brought in Kramer and we weren't prepared for it. And Tanner Morgan was like a receiver. Right. So, there's things you could have done. But COVID made it hard because of the community. You weren't there to be, I don't think you were going to be face to face.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate because again, he's doing it at Rice, but his stats would have had him as Nebraska's second leading receiver last year if you just copy paste the stats. Like, there's clearly a good player in there. And the tough part is that you can't just blame one person. You can't blame the old head coach. You can't blame the old position coach. You can't just blame Luke McCaffrey. And that's something that's
easy to do.
Right. That's something Strick and I were talking about too, was you mentioned come to terms with not playing quarterback. Maybe Nebraska was telling him you're not a quarterback all along. Maybe they tried to keep him there just to get him on campus, which I don't think would be great. But if you see an athlete, you think you can convince them, okay, whatever. But sometimes don't you have to go through that like real life experience to fall short, and then it sinks in that, hey, maybe it is time for the next move?
Hey, I saw Lauren Phillips. That was quick. Then I looked away. I was like, man, I could play safety. Eventually I think I would have got on the field as a safety. But they had Mike Minner and Kareem Moss and all those. I'm like, right. So then I'm like, all right, I'm 3, 4, 5. I'm junior year. Just if everything stays pat, because it wasn't like these guys were chopped. All of them went to the league.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, okay, well, then I came to terms with I have never played linebacker before, ever, right? Barely played defense because back then they just wanted to give run me into the ground. So only played 4 games on defense. So I had to do a total about face. But if you want, I'm a firm believer. If you are a basketball player, football player, you want to play.
Station.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. The home of Kansas City Royals baseball. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Strick, one more thing. It could be comparable to like Danny Woodhead, right?
Yeah.
And here's what I'll say about this, and this is where none of us were privy to those conversations that they had before COVID, during COVID, or even I know they were highly disappointed the way he jumped into the portal in the timing. I do know that. But I'll say this, as far as Danny Woodhead, everybody's like, oh, Frank didn't recruit him. Well, Danny Woodhead got a 10-year career out of it because of going to Sheridan State. He wouldn't have broke all them records at Nebraska. He might not have played. He would have played, but he wouldn't have been able to get that amount of run. Because didn't he win the equivalent of Heisman?
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
You wouldn't have won the Heisman in Nebraska. So so him going to Chatham State, even though it sucked, and he should have been on Nebraska's team, it worked out best for him in the long term because he was able to be featured, get a shot. Never would have maybe not have been on Hard Knocks. Then he doesn't end up in the wing or the Jets in the wing, and then he could just never played. Now, was he good enough to be a scholarship athlete when he was coming out of high school?
Yeah.
Damn, Skippy.
Yeah.
Same thing with McCaffrey. It might have worked. It might work out the best for him to leave here, have where to go, Louisville.
Yeah,
right?
Louisville
for like and then find a home in Rice where he can be featured,
Mhm.
right? Where they say, listen, we have got to do everything possible to get him on the field and accentuate what he does well. And then next thing you know, if he gets into the NFL, whether it's free agent or drafted or free agent, and he prospers, he'll say it was worth it. And it was
For sure.
right? But
For sure. The journey was worth it.
Selfishly,
Yeah.
we would have liked that to be here. No different than Wandell.
Kyle Emanuel,
right?
Easton Stick.
That's one right there.
And
Yeah.
then even Klester's son, even though he
Yeah.
didn't, even though he stopped playing, I'm not sure, did he get injured?
It was
or-
a COVID. It was a COVID.
COVID
thing.
right? But
That
the one that
crossover.
went to Wyoming.
Oh, you're talking about yeah. That was CJ.
Yeah, he's the Gatorade Player of the Year. You can't tell me, and I don't know. It must have been Bo, right? I'm certain Bo was the coach. I don't know who was the coach.
At that time, I want to say was it Callahan?
No,
it was Bo.
It
had
Bo.
to be Bo.
See, and they slow played him.
Yeah,
and I remember
they slow played him.
And
You're
really,
right.
I remember the first time I saw CJ was him playing basketball.
Yeah,
because I'm like, shoot, Klesser couldn't play no hoops, but he could hoop. No, I ain't dogging Klesser, but I'm just joking.
He couldn't,
but
that's facts.
But
WTF?
But CJ could hoop. So
Yeah,
the
CJ
fact
could
that,
hoop.
like hoop on a major level, like what I mean, like hoop for real, not just out there and get
His
a couple.
jumper was
But what I'm saying,
No, I know
is-
you're right, though.
what I'm
You're
saying
right.
is He could break. he could break people down, get to the hoop.
Yeah, he could.
So what that let me know, they must have, talking about, is he fast enough and all that. They still playing that, Ohio versus Nebraska, Ohio high school players versus Nebraska. I said, listen, I'm thinking to myself, I seen this dude break down 2 or 3 dudes, contort his body, go in reverse, and he's legit 6'2". Then he goes to Wyoming. I mean, he was catching passes from Josh Allen,
balling.
So
he was a lead guy with Josh.
Right, Josh
Yeah.
Allen, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, it's sometimes it's the best for people, and hopefully with McCaffrey, it works out. I think I will tell you this: he was an important player to them, and I think experience. Ideally, on both parts, I think they probably wish they could have handled it better. Right? I'm sure.
Mhm,
Right?
mhm.
I mean, it's 2020, hindsight, but it's worked out for him, and I think hopefully it's inspired him to do better things. What? Also, strict to this point, and this is also with basketball too. Like when we were in college, very rarely did guys transfer, but sometimes they did, right? And even after we got out of college, and transfers started to kind of ramp up a little bit. And remember, it was just like one transfer,
Yeah.
like you only transfer once. Guys going 2 or 3 spots now in college isn't looked down upon in the league.
Yeah, yeah.
See, when you used to come out of college or after when we were in the pros, right? So now the transfers a little bit, more, out there in front. If a guy, say he, kind of, had some issues at say of Michigan, then maybe he went to Eastern Kentucky and then he went down to Troy and they got drafted. They were like, oh, he can't follow in, he can't fit into a team structure. Now, guys are getting drafted, 3 or 4 college. I was watching this. It was actually on Instagram about a guy that was forget he's a number 25 for the Washington Commanders.
Okay.
And he was at Michigan, and I think his last name is like Saint Inge or
Mike Sanderstill? Or
is
is he still there at Michigan?
No, he's at Michigan. His name is Saint Inge or something. He's a starting corner for him.
Oh,
And-
Benjamin St. Juice.
St. Juice, right. So he was at Michigan, pulled his hamstring real bad, pulled off the bone. And he rehabbed for a year under Michigan's watch and never got back. And when he did, he, was kind of hurting his other hamstring. It just felt like, wasn't there. So then they said, they put him on kind of like a medical or kind of like put him on the shelf. So then they kind of, they induced him or highly encouraged him and duped him to injury retire. Sign this paper, we just need you to sign this. So essentially your scholarship, I think, goes off to 85, but you're still on scholarship. And they rehabbed him. He said he was 15 minutes away. Went there and he said within 6 weeks he was back to running 4.344.
Wow.
So he's texting his coaches and Coach Harswell, like, I'm ready to come back. They were like, oh, calls his parents, and I guess he's from Canada. So his parents come down from Canada and was like, yeah, you know, we don't have a scholarship for you. We'll see how it goes. They say his dad raised the roof. He went in the portal. Now, granted, for the portal, goes to Minnesota with PJ Fleck. I think he either got drafted or not, but he's starting for the Washington Commanders in the NFL and locking cats up.
Strap.
So it shows you that sometimes, you know, you need 2 or 3 spots to go in some of these even big time schools, even like Michigan, who with Harbaugh says he's a Mr. Goody Two Shoes. They jam some players up too, and then he had the wherewithal and the intestinal fortitude to make it. So all jokes aside, diarrhea jokes aside, aside, it's good for Luke McCaffrey to find his way and have a good college career. He's found a home.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about it. It's good to see, and I'm hoping and wishing him well as also. Shout out to those who were nominated and have become Hall of Famers for the University of Nebraska. Shout out to them.
We got the OG, or my mentor, a guy that I wrote about in my book, had a huge influence on my career. I don't think I would have probably made that early. I would have eventually got on the field, but watching him replicating what he did and his mindset allowed me to start as a redshirt freshman. So we're gonna have Troy Dumas at the top of the 5 o'clock hour.
It's beautiful, beautiful. Great stuff today. Wonderful show. Tomorrow, Strick won shootout with Strick today. So hopefully I'll have a repeat. Austin and I will come back on tomorrow, 2 to 4, and give you a little bit more action on the block. But Old School will be taking on all the details of sports and everything in news right after this. We'll see you guys mañana. Peace.
It's Miss Sinjala Restaurant Group. When you use a $100 gift card and receive a $15 bonus card at all of our locations, including Venue Restaurant and Lounge, Piedmont Bistro, the Butchery and Venue at Home, and all Lincoln Good Sense subs. Our Christmas in July gift card special is available at all Pillar Restaurant Group locations or online at prgnebraska.com. That's prgnebraska.com to get a $15 bonus card when you purchase a $100 gift card.
Too many people believe that chronic pain, allergies, or illness are permanent and something you're stuck with. Novotny Nutrition and Wellness has been proving that narrative wrong for 29 years and changing lives for the better in the process. Their team is trained in the newest, most advanced pain-relieving techniques and ways to deal with toxins, allergies, pollution, and emotion that make you ill. Call today for a free consultation at 531-254-5695 or go to novotnynutritionandwellness.com. Novotny Nutrition and Wellness, located at 7th and Superior.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back in the future. Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
The Southern Pecan Cake from Beatrice Bakery. They don't just let you call anything Southern, especially when it's baked right here in Nebraska. But there are standards you have to meet, like a rich, decadent, moist caramel cake? Check. Bursting with too many large pecans to count? Check. Big enough to share with the whole group? Check. But delicious enough that you won't want to share? A big check on that one. The Southern Pecan Cake, the newest cake to the Beatrice Bakery lineup. Try it for yourself at Beatrice Bakery. Online at BeatriceBakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
Summertime is in full swing, and it's time to get to work on outdoor projects. Deck City is a great place to start as Lincoln's local source for everything decks. Deck City has everything you need to build the deck of your dreams, from treated lumber to Westbury aluminum railings and TimberTech composite decking. They offer advice from real deck professionals to give you proper guidance to make your project go smoothly. Call them today to schedule an appointment at 402-480-6671. Go online to City.com or visit the station just north of 33rd and Cornhusker Highway. Deck City, your local deck expert.
Sandhills Global is hiring. Check out sandhills.com